The road to Scottish Summit starts here. This is the Power Platform Podcast. Join Rex de Koning, Ana Inés Urrutia de Sousa, and Paddy Byrne as they talk to the Microsoft community about their stories.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Power Platform Podcast. Is that the name?
We've got it.
Yes. In this occasion, we are having another amazing guest. She will introduce herself in a second. My name is Anna, and I'm a co-host of this podcast, and I'm here with Paddy.
Paddy Byrne. I am also co-host of the Power Platform Podcast, and this season of the Power Platform Podcast is about Scottish Summit and the road to Scottish Summit 2024. We're here with a wonderful guest. Introduce yourself.
Alison Mulligan. I am an AI-generated image of Alison Mulligan.
For the hair, it looks like, honestly.
I'm in today. Not bad.
How are you, Alison? How's everything going?
Everything is going great. I'm very well, thank you. How are you guys?
All good.
We're good. Very good. Yeah. All the better for seeing you, Alison.
Oh,
That was going to smell to my face.
never tire of hearing that, Paddy.
So, we'll start off with a few icebreakers for you, Alison. Now, we all know that you're a bit of a foodie.
Oh, do we? I am a bit of a
Yes.
foodie, yeah.
Yes. So, my question for you would be, if you were on death row, what would be your last meal, and who would you get to cook it for you?
That is a great looking question that I don't know the answer to. I think, giving it the most minimum amount of thought, I would want something cooked by Marco Pierre White, because I think most people think he's a dreadful bore, but I find him mildly interesting, and I actually love the passion that he has for food, albeit in a slightly over the top way. And I would ask him to cook me something vegan, just because I think it would piss him off royally, and, just for my own entertainment, because it's my last chance to get a good dig in. I think I'd ask for a burger, like a vegan burger, and that's my go-to, break glass in case of emergency type food, is like a really good burger.
A very good vegan burger.
Yeah.
I
know it sounds like a dichotomy, doesn't it?
See, mine is really boring. So I'm quite famous for it. No, not famous among the community, but I love lasagna, and lasagna is my ultimate favorite food, right? And so
Now you said that.
every time I go on holiday, I would just eat lasagnas all day, every day. But I don't really buy them in the UK. I don't really tend to go. I'm quite fussy with it, so it has to be super cheesy and stuff, and it has to be. So I would probably do lasagna, but I'd cook it myself because I wouldn't trust anybody to make it the same.
I mean, it's a good escape plan.
Yeah.
You're going to be in a kitchen with access to tools that you could possibly shank your way out of the situation. It's probably worth it. Now you said lasagna, can I change my answer?
No.
There's no rules in this podcast.
Lasagna is a good shout, but like you, I won't get like a bought lasagna in a supermarket. I won't eat anything like that.
No.
In a restaurant, if I've had it there before and I know it's good, I don't think that's ever happened, then I would have it. But like a good homemade lasagna is, primo delecto.
Fantastic.
And noodles, I go mental for noodles, anything involving noodles.
Yeah.
And I recently learned how to make this is honestly a snapshot into my life at the moment. I recently learned how to make takeaway Chinese style sweet and sour sauce. You get sweet and sour sauce or sweet and sour vegetables and stuff like that. And I thought it would be horrifically difficult. It's not. It's super easy. And for 2 weeks, pretty much lunch and dinner every day, I just had sweet and sour noodles.
Oh my
with
God.
Onions and peppers and a bit of tofu in there.
Until you're completely bored of that taste, and
now
you've
I will
never
never
had
eat
it
it again.
again. Yeah.
No, I'll never eat it again now.
So I put Nando's peri peri sauce in everything as well. So everything. So my lasagna has Nando's peri peri sauce in it.
Even in lasagna.
Because
That's such a heathen. So
I've said to my parents and my girlfriend, and I've said, when I die, right? Because usually it's tradition you have a dinner after your funeral, and it's always steak pie in Scotland. You always have steak pie for dinner after the funeral, and I can't stand steak pie, right? So I've said that no one's having steak pie at my funeral. It's lasagna, and that's my only dying wish. I don't care what you can put me in a bin for all I care, but as long as there's no steak pie at my funeral.
Right, now I'm made of questions. I have a lot of follow-up questions about this. So, because I don't think I've ever been to a funeral in Scotland, which is probably unsurprising. But so, is it like a big pie, or is it like, are they mini steak pie? Like, because funerals here, the funeral food is like picky stuff you can pick up in one hand and walk around eating. Like, you don't sit down and eat.
Yeah.
It's like, like mini quiches.
Finger food, yeah.
Finger food, vol au vents.
Every funeral I've been to in Scotland, I've been a lot because my dad's like the youngest out of like 14 brothers and sisters or something. So we've been to loads.
Made of questions about that.
So all his brothers and sisters,
as
they pop their clogs, we have a funeral. And it's always.
It's typically the way.
That's what happens. But we
never be flushing them down the toilet like I did with my goldfish or anything.
They always have steak pie, and I can't stand steak pie. But because it's a funeral, you can't really complain. You can't just say, "Oh, sake."
I mean, I feel like I would. I feel like I would have words about that.
Oh my god!
But, is it a full size pie, or is it a finger? It
tends to be a big one that's been cut. It's served to you. It's almost like a roast dinner. It gets served to you, so it's almoys
like a sit down. So you have like a sit down, like a wedding breakfast. Because in my mind, when you said you wanted lasagna at your funeral, which God willing, you outlive me, being much younger. I had an image of bite-sized lasagna with a cocktail.
with peri-peri sauce in it.
With peri-peri sauce in it. As a dip. Because not everybody wants the peri-peri. It's got to be offered as a dip. I think it's an optional extra on the peri-peri lasagna. Yeah.
This is for me, such a discovery, because in the culture I grew up, we don't have any food when someone dies. It's like we are all there with our long faces, and some of them drinking coffee, but no one dares to think about food. But honestly, it would make things a lot better.
I mean, it's mostly drink at the funerals I've been to. Yeah.
Drink like what?
Alcohol.
Are you kidding?
Yeah,
no. Everybody everybody goes to the pub.
Yeah. Usually you have the funeral, then you have the burial, and then you have a dinner.
And there's like a
dinner, basically, with steak pie. And then you have the wake's like the night before. You have the wake the night before, and you stay up all night.
Okay. Okay. Different.
And then you go to the pub after dinner until whenever.
I mean, it's a great way to honor the person, right? Why are you laughing?
Like, sorry, this should not be the power platform. This should be funerals from around the world.
We'll see how many hits we get. We can maybe change the podcast.
Right. And then, there's an evolution of this. Like, you could, when you get invited to a wedding and you have to say if you're having the chicken or the fish or the vegetable lasagna. You could do that for a funeral. Do you want the steak pie?
The only thing is that you don't plan that to happen.
There's no choice. There's lasagna, vegetarian or meat. That's the only choice you get for my funeral. You can come along. You have to come to lasagna.
I would eat the lasagna for you, just for you, Paddy. Well, also for you, Anna. God, I hope I never have to go to your funerals. It's macabre.
Well, Alison, I don't know, Paddy, if you want to do another icebreaker or we move forward.
No, that one went a lot further than what I thought.
I feel like we solved some stuff there. I've come away with more questions than I entered in with anyway.
Please, yes. So can you share, we already know a little bit, but for the people that is listening and the people who don't know yourself or don't know this side of yourself, can you share like your day to day, either at work, in life, in community, or whatever, whenever you like to take the answer, it's the right place. So
Yeah. I mean, it's a heady and an adrenaline pinching mix of drinking coffee and doing crochet mostly. So I feel it's high octane stuff. I'm not working currently. I haven't been working for a while. I retired from proper full time work about 2 years ago. I've done some bits and pieces in between. Most of the stuff I do for community at the moment is I'm been working on Trisha Sinclair's Power Platform School with Trisha and Mazel, and we have been trying to switch up the format and take it in a different direction. So there's been a lot of work behind the scenes of trying to get some content recorded for that, and trying to get some people to volunteer to do some content for that, which has been most of my involvement with community for the last few months. But other than that, aside from going to things like Scottish Summit, and what was the last one I went to before that? I can't even remember. Honestly, I feel like my brain doesn't work anymore because I can't remember. I can't remember what happened last week. Can't even
you
remember what
weren't
day.
in Color Cloud, right?
And what? No, I didn't go to.
No.
No, I wasn't
Okay.
at Colour Cloud. No, I wasn't invited. I was asked not to attend specifically.
I don't know.
No,
No
no,
way. No way.
no,
I will buy anything you said.
I've just been a dick.
You said that with such a straight face as well.
I know, and that is one of my greatest traits. Is I can deliver anything as outrageous as you like, and providing it's said with confidence, people will just believe it. It's quite a skill. So
Yes,
yeah.
you should be proud of it. I will buy
I am
anything
hugely
from.
proud of it, but like usually I can only last about 10 seconds afterwards before
Oh, and
giving
then
up.
you,
So
yeah.
it depends on how high the stakes are. If it was to win a bet, no problem. I'd keep a straight face. Absolutely no problem.
That's very
I
good.
I am a master negotiator, and was thinking about a career in mediation,
Yeah.
because I'm really good at getting to the thing with negotiation is people enter into it as a situation where somebody has to get the upper hand on the other, right? But actually, the resolution to a successful negotiation or mediation is that all parties walk away feeling like they got a good deal, right?
Hmm.
If anybody walks away from that deal feeling like disgruntled or like they could have done better or they didn't get the best deal possible, then unless it's a situation where nobody can get the best deal possible and the only way forward is to broker it and say like this isn't ideal for everybody, but everybody's taken a bit of a hit somewhere and that's the best that we can do, so we either do that or we do nothing, kind of thing.
Hmm.
And like that is quite a skill and a talent in and of itself. I don't want to blow my own horn, yes I do, but it's quite it takes a lot of years of experience to become good at that, especially when it comes to things like contracts and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I remember you helped me a lot, and I don't remember how long ago, but in understanding that sort of things in a real case when I was like negotiating a new salary or a new
Mhm.
opportunity, and that help was massive because it
Great.
changed the way I it changed the way I thought about that.
Mm.
I thought it about as a conflict, asking for what I wanted, and then you sort of gave me another look, and that was very good.
Well, I'm assuming what I said to you is like you're not employed for fun. They're not employing you because they like you. I mean, I'm sure they do, but they're employing you to provide a service. And
Yes.
any service that you're providing to somebody, if you're exchanging your hours of your day, for want of a better expression, in current employment contracts, in exchange for providing expertise, then they must need that expertise, and
Yeah.
that expertise has a market value. And there's a very specific approach that I adopt for that, which is to, and anybody can do this at any point. And anybody that's been in a role for a long time in a fast-moving technology area such as Power Platform, where the salaries have the potential to go from like 60 grand to 120 for, in a 2-year period. If you've been in a job for 2 years and you're getting paid 60 grand and everybody else is getting hired for the same job at 120, it becomes very difficult for you, it becomes difficult for your employer, and it becomes difficult for the companies out there that are looking to, well, it's probably easier on their side of things. But the way to approach it is to make a list of what you were hired to do, make a list of what you actually do, which is always vastly different to your job description. And in many instances, I've been in that game for like over 25 years, and I can tell you nobody's job bears any resemblance to their job description, in a similar way to nobody's CV really bears any resemblance to them as a person. Like they're kind of guidelines really at the end of the day. And so if you make a list of your job spec, what you actually do, and then if you go out and find roles that are being advertised doing what you actually do, you can go back to your employer and say compassionately and respectfully, if you want to hire somebody, if I leave or I get hit by a bus tomorrow and you have to hire someone in to do what I'm doing, this is what it's going to cost you. So where do we go from here? Kind of thing.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's a great approach.
Mm.
It's a great approach, and I'm writing down. I'm taking notes.
I'll give you the cliff notes later. You can always call me. We can recover it in detail. No problem.
We've touched on something that I think is quite important and worth bringing up in this podcast. And that, you said earlier you've not been doing not that much in the community and stuff. But I think when people talk about contributions, particularly in the MVP landscape, those contributions that people don't see, because I know I've asked you for help as well, Alison, before. I've pinged you a message and you'll give me the time and give me help with recruiters, employers, what to do next in career. And all that has massive impact as well. The fact that you're just available and you're a source of knowledge and you've got these negotiation skills and people can openly contact you and you're able to help them, I think that's massive contribution in itself. And it goes under the radar a lot of the times. People don't
I don't publicize that I'm helping people to negotiate more money or helping them find another job. Yeah, I tend to keep that. That's why my hair is weird colors, because it's full of secrets.
Makes sense now.
I know everybody's looking around for a job, and I know what everybody's paid and all that, but you never heard it from me. Thank you, Paddy. I really appreciate that. It's a really kind thing to say. I don't see it as a contribution really myself. It's just I do have a lot of knowledge in a very, like Liam Neeson, I have a very particular set of skills. They're very niche. And like if that could be of use to anybody, then I'll chew the fat with anybody about anything.
I think it's quite a unique skill set that you have, and a lot of us are relying on your knowledge to see how to move forward. Yes, you can blush. Come on.
I mean, I probably would blush if I were capable of it, but it's not. I'm pretending to be modest, so that I don't come across as arrogant. But pretty valuable. That's what I'd say.
Oh my God.
It's for me. Most of the people like you guys and anybody else that I talk to about careers and stuff, like I feel there's really like no easily available information out there for that kind of thing. And it feels good for me to be able to bring that experience to bear in a very direct way, because my experience in the last 5, 10, maybe I don't know, 5 odd years has been specifically in Dynamics and Power Platform. So my experience is directly applicable to the people I'm talking to. And it's really nice to be able to chat to people, and the more I talk to people about that stuff, the more I realize this is not something that anybody ever really talks about.
No.
A bit like finances, like nobody really talks about your personal finance, because I didn't realize when I retired a couple of years ago, so many people said to me, "You're so young," and I'm like, "Well, I'm 50," and they're like, "Well, how did you manage to retire at 50?" And like, I said, well, I planned for it. Like, I learned early on what to do financially. I figured out what amount of money I needed, set a goal to have done that. Actually, I retired slightly earlier than I had planned. And but that's not a general education thing.
Yeah.
In our society. People don't talk about how to plan successfully for your future financially, or how to invest. I think it's becoming a lot more common now. People talk about it a lot more, especially the cryptocurrency bros. Crypto bro. I did buy Bitcoin back in 2013. But I sold a lot of it to buy the company. So yeah, but I did get involved in that. And actually, I still find cryptocurrency interesting, so I'm not going to mock it. But I don't think people talk about that. People don't talk about how to plan your career. Like I can count on one badly mangled hand with fewer fingers than it should have the amount of people I've ever spoken to in my almost 30 years in recruitment that actually had planned their career. And very often I have conversations with people that are like, how does somebody like Charles Lamanna get to the position he's in, or how does somebody, of that level get to where they are? And I'm like, he had a plan. Like, he had a plan. He knew where he was going to go. And like, I don't know about you guys, but careers advice at my school was pretty sketch. Especially for me in the early to mid 80s. They're like, yeah, well, you've probably only got a few years before you start popping some kids out anyway, so try and get a nice office job that will kind of keep the ball from the door until then. Well, good advice. Solid.
Our careers advice was on a CD-ROM, like a static CD-ROM. We didn't even have a careers officer. You just put the CD-ROM in the machine. You answered the question that said office administrator.
Or builder. IT support. You managed to get this CD-ROM working, so you should be in IT support. I think that's pretty. That was the earliest iteration of ChatGPT, right there, wasn't it? Your career CD-ROM. And we used to sit in front of an old guy in a moth-eaten tank top and a checked shirt. Yeah, it was absolutely appalling careers advice. So yeah, anyway, people don't get careers advice. They don't get financial advice. It's not something that people have conversations about. When I hear people having conversations about them, I'm very often surprised. I was going to say something really awful. I was going to say I'm really shocked by how little people know. But that's not a reflection on people. That's a reflection on just that information not being conversations that you have, which is bananas.
It's a cultural thing as well. We just don't talk about things like that.
Yeah, like death. Let's talk about death.
But not in this podcast.
I mean, back to the pie again. Back to peri peri lasagna. That's all I'm going to think about at the next funeral.
Anyway, let's stop being morbid. It'll be a happy day. So, tell us a bit about your Scottish summits that you've attended or participated in previously. Have you got any highlights or anything from any previous events?
Yeah, as I just let Anna know, my quiz team were the winners of the pub quiz for the first 2 years that it ever happened. The first 2 pub quizzes.
Well done.
So it turns out Anna and I were obviously on the same team in 2020. We've all done the pub quiz so many times now. I don't think we can remember whose team we were on for what. Actually, I remember the first one because I seem to remember. Was it the first one? There was one where it was between me and Ryan McLean, I think, and something went awry with the score in one of the pub quizzes. The leading teams, I think, were me and Ryan McLean, and something went awry with the scoring, and we won it, even though I don't think we really won it.
No, you're wasting it. We're all believing that you won it. You're showing your medals.
I mean, I do have a trophy, but I do think Ryan's team were robbed of that victory. So, I hope that he doesn't hold it against me and that he's let it go. But it was not my doing. I didn't rig it.
It was not your fault.
It was not my fault. I was an innocent. I was just collateral damage in that. I don't know what went wrong. So, but I think in 2020, I think was the last. That was one just before we went into lockdown. Was it was like in the February or something, and
Yeah.
then we went into lockdown. And my company, because I was still working then, sponsored, and so that was a lot of fun. It was kind of, and for me also, it was a time when I met a lot of people that I'd spoken to, but I hadn't met in person. Um, so that was kind of really. I feel like events like Scottish Summit, and other conferences are available, but I think the ones that are free to the attendees, or as close to free as possible, are so much more accessible for everybody
Yeah.
to be able to attend. And I think the greatest thing that I get from a lot of these conferences is just the opportunity to meet and speak to people that I've spoken to on DLs, or on emails, or on LinkedIn or whatever, but never actually met in person. And I think you make a much better connection with people when you do meet and speak face to face. And for me, because I'm a bit neurospicy, I tend to remember what somebody actually does a lot better once I've met them, because they can tell me until they're blue in the face on the phone, and for some reason it just won't. Like, I have a real problem remembering names as well, which I'm sure you can imagine in my former career was a bit of an issue. But once I've met somebody, it's fine. But like, if I've only spoken to them on the phone, the only way I could remember them would be like something really random, like they've got a dog called Neil or something like that, like just random facts. And I'll go, oh yeah, that guy. So I don't know why I'm like that. I don't know why I'm like a lot of things, but so for me, going to Scottish Summit is like, it's a really good, and it's really well attended. So like, you do get to meet a lot of people there. I've met so many other people that I had never met or spoken to before, and got to hang out with them and attend sessions. And I also find the quality of the sessions at Scottish Summit are like really high quality. I remember one year the biggest conference of the year was one in Amsterdam. I think that was either 2019 or 2020, and it was a huge paid for conference in Amsterdam. And when we went to Scottish Summit the following February, like the quality of the sessions were as good as, if not better, in some instances than the ones I'd seen at the Amsterdam Summit. And I paid something like €1,600 for the Amsterdam ticket. So
Wow.
like, I kind of felt like I was getting much more value from the Scottish Summit, because for me, the content seemed great. It was an opportunity to meet a lot of people. It's an opportunity to reconnect with people I hadn't seen for a while. Because, like, you guys know yourselves, there's some people that that you only ever see when you go to go to these events.
Yes.
So, like, a lot of the time, it's like catching up with a bunch of old buddies,
It's the
and
kind of friendship I like to have because they're not so codependent. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
I see them when I see them, and if I don't see them, it's all good.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's perfect for me. I think people think that I'm incredibly extroverted because I talk a lot and I'm a gobshite, and I'm normally kind of going for it when we're out and about. But I'm actually a raging introvert, and given the choice, I would spend all day, every day indoors with the curtains closed and speaking to nobody and having no interaction with anyone. It's
which
exactly what I would do
is
because
it what you're doing right now, right?
yes, I'm in my full Unabomber phase now, where I'm just sitting at the table, drinking tea and scribbling my manifesto on the backs of envelopes and stuff like that. So,
I'm a bit like that. There's a
I
lot
love it.
of, I've got a bit of a motto that said, if you don't like spending your time on your own, then don't expect anybody else to enjoy your company. Because
well,
I love spending time on my own sometimes. It's love it. It's great. You just sit
the
and
best,
there's no compromises. I'm just going to
honestly.
do whatever I want.
I think you'll agree with me. There are fewer pleasures in life as wonderful as the beer and pants night, where you just literally sit in your pants, drinking a couple of beers, watching it on Netflix. Sorry, I'll have to bleep that out.
It's all
It's okay.
right.
We're not
It's
here
all
for
right.
beats in.
The S word. Just chilling, relaxing, doing nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love my own company. Absolutely delighted with it. So I'm glad to hear you say that, Paddy, and I shall use that as an excuse to cease any further contact with the outside world.
Outside world.
Everyone.
That's it now. It's the last you'll hear from me.
Last appearance of Alison
All I'll
Mulligan.
do is I will just occasionally post a tress of my hair to someone just to let you know.
That's so creepy.
I mean, that wasn't the creepiest thing I thought of, but that was the one I went with.
Oh God.
Yeah. So yeah,
So-
yeah. So like yeah, I've done a couple of sessions at Scottish Summit. Last year, in fact, I wasn't doing a session last year, but Nick Dolman, the lovely Canadian man who is the font of all Power Pages knowledge, he was doing a session, and for some reason he couldn't make it over to. It was Manchester, wasn't it, last year? He couldn't make
Yeah.
it for whatever reason, and he asked if I would take a session. I said, yeah, fine, no problem. And that was pretty interesting. So we're doing a similar kind of session in this upcoming Scottish Summit, which is again, it's around careers, career planning, that kind of thing. You know, how to move your career forward.
I have a question for you because I didn't attend it last year in Manchester, or this last year in Manchester. Was it a Power Pages session that you deliver on behalf?
No. It
of
was
Nick?
no. He had put together a session on careers and stuff like that.
Oh, all right.
Well, it was a kind of like, how did you get into Power Platform session? Like, tell me your journey. Because I think that's another interesting thing about people that work in Power Platform more so than Dynamics is there's just like such a disparate pool of sounds like we're a band of weird mutants or something. It's just like a really disparate group of people that have all come from like really different backgrounds, which I think is fascinating and interesting. And I think it makes I think it contributes massively to the success of the technology, because the more different types of people are represented, you know, I know we're always having discussions around accessibility, inclusivity, diversity, that kind of thing. And diversity doesn't just mean you know, Black people, people from other non-white backgrounds. It doesn't just mean people with different physical accessibility needs or different neurological accessibility needs. It also means people from different socioeconomic backgrounds. And whereas historically, like this is, you know, cutting edge technology, and you know, 5-10 years ago, the only people running that kind of stuff were people that had really high level degrees from high level universities. But now we've got
Sorry.
that's all right.
Exactly.
And but like now you've got people like me who've got no skills and are trained for nothing who are involved.
You don't say that because it's not true.
It's not true. But if I were to say, yeah, I'm going to work in the technology sector in the Microsoft stack, like 10 years ago, people would go, yeah, all right. Good luck to you. You know. I mean, I do have a little bit of technical background, very little, a long time ago. But like, I think diversity comes in many different forms, and it also includes people who haven't come through studying a technology degree or coming through that kind of background. You know, there's plenty of people working in this sector that can't spell and can't do basic maths. Actually, I can spell, but like maths is a bit of a you know, I'm not any kind of computer genius in any stretch of the imagination, in any stretch of the description. But I think the level of accessibility that this technology has means that we do have a really diverse group of people representing that technology and having a say in shaping the future of that technology. And I'm not going to mention AI because I know everyone's going to roll their eyes. So I just got it in at the beginning so that we don't mention Copilot.
Oh my God. It's the first time that we say it in this podcast, in this episode.
And I for one welcome our Copilot overlords.
What?
I think Copilot is fantastic. I think it's a fantastic thing. Do you know what I'm really excited about is Copilot for sales, because I can see enormous opportunity there as somebody that's got 30 years experience in sales in working in sales and running sales teams and managing sales and running a company that is based almost entirely on sales, I find the potential, I don't think it's quite there yet, but the potential, like I can see immediately that there is a way to tweak Copilot for sales that would be phenomenal for any sales manager. Like it would be like phoning them up and saying, you know, if every time you gave me a tenner, I gave you £1,000 back, when would you stop giving me a tenner? And the answer is always never. Here, have £1,000. Like I can see massive potential in the application of Copilot for sales. But
I hate it, but no.
But I understand why you hate
It's not
it.
my thing. It's not my
No.
thing, right?
I understand why you hate it, and honestly, I don't love it in its I don't love it in its current iteration, but because we're looking at it wrong. We're looking at it wrong. We're approaching it from the wrong angle. I was in a discussion around. I was involved in a discussion around Copilot for sales, and one of the biggest issues that people had was actually I can't say it because it's going to disclose some non-NDA.
Oh, okay.
So, but the discussion was focused from a technologist perspective and saying we need to be able to do this, we need to be able to do that. And my perspective is 180 degrees from that. Is like you have to think about this from a user perspective, because I know you're huge on UX. You know, because without decent user experience, it doesn't matter how clever your product is, people just don't use it.
Yeah.
And that's one problem that we have with HR, because if it's not appealing, I don't know the words, not calling you.
Yeah, like
you won't sell it.
Every time I think about HR, I have to lean against the worktop as a wave of horror passes over me, and I steady my legs a bit, because it's a classic example of a technology product being developed by technical people, not from a user perspective. And there's a fantastic book that I read years ago that changed my mind on this. Which and I recommended it to several people. I don't think any of them read it. It's by Kathy Sierra, and it's called Making Users Awesome. Now, and I had this argument with somebody. I recommended it to Mark Smith recently, and I said, like, I'll send you a copy. He said, oh no, I read everything on Kindle. I said, so do I. I don't like having physical copies of things. I prefer having electronic copies, but you want a physical copy of this, and I'm going to explain why. Because there is a lot of, I'm trying to find a good example now. There's a lot of infographics and layouts and stuff that don't render properly, no matter which way you try and do it on Kindle. There's a lot of this kind of stuff, and then there's some like flow diagrams and stuff. So I would, if you can, get a paperback copy of it.
Making users
I'll put
awesome.
a link to my Amazon storefront on the podcast.
My God, we didn't have that yet on this podcast, so
it's not even a new book. I can't remember when it was first published, but it was a while back. 2015.
Okay.
So it's nearly 10 years old, but it doesn't matter. The core tenets of it still stand. And like the premise, the overarching premise is exactly what you and I have always said, Anna, is somebody doesn't care how the technology works. They just want to, if it makes them great at their job without them realizing it, and it makes the user awesome, then they'll love it and they become raving fans and they'll recommend it to everybody. And that's what we lose sight of a lot, because we need more and more people who have because I came into this community from a user perspective, not from a back-end developer technologist perspective. I came in, the only reason I got involved with community was because I was managing our D365 CRM, and none of it the CRM we were providing. Honestly, knowing now what I know and thinking back to it, it was so bad. But I was lost. I was trying to get all of these people to use a system that I couldn't even make sense of how it was supposed to work. and nobody was helping me. So I'm like, right, I've got to start getting involved with the people who know, which is how I ended up getting involved in community. So yeah, that was a great book and an eye opener. I read it about 3 or 4 years ago, I think, and cracking.
Alison, do you mind
Um,
if we get back to the main topic of this podcast?
I mean, I do, but all right.
So we talked maybe 15 minutes ago. We talked about Scottish Summit past, right?
Yes.
Can you tell us about your involvement in Scottish Summit future? What are you
Yes.
going to do this year?
So this year I'm doing a similar thing to last year. We're doing a panel session. It's going to be around careers in Dynamics and Power Platform. But it's going to be geared more towards how to plan your career and how different directions that are available to you and how having a plan can make all of the difference between just plodding along. Because I think most people and this is not a commentary on anybody, this is just what I've noticed through my years of working with people. Typically what happens is people change job because maybe they start looking for a job because they're not getting a pay rise or they're a bit pissed off where they are, or for whatever reason, or they're moving, whatever, and they get into a better job because they change jobs, or they get promoted at work. And that could be for a variety of reasons. It could be an opening came up because somebody got promoted or somebody left, or it could be that a new position or a new team was created. But most people's progression through their career is by accident, not by planning. Right?
Yeah.
It's they fall into something. Like, and I'm just as guilty of that as the next person. And it wasn't until I realized actually you have to kind of think of it a bit like a game of chess, but much less complicated. What's a less complicated version of chess? Drafts, maybe. I don't know. You kind of just need to and I think people have a mental block with planning a career because as soon as you start thinking about your career, you start thinking about writing a CV, which everybody hates. It's a universally known truth that everybody hates writing a CV with good reason because most of them are shit and completely unnecessary. It's completely unnecessary. It's like I can't. Yeah, I won't go off on that rant. It was a diatribe, and it's a hill I will die on. Like most job descriptions are also completely useless, but anyway, well, by the by. So most people, as soon as they start thinking about career planning, they think, oh god, I've got to write my CV and I don't know what I'm going to do next, and it's only this job that's available to me, or like I'm currently a functional consultant, so I guess I could go up to solution architect, or whatever, and I think there is a very structured path that you can follow. But actually, if you think of it more like a game of drafts or a game of chess, a slightly less complex game of chess, and you don't worry about having to write your CV, you can start thinking about it in terms of, right, okay, so let's look at it from like a software project. What is my as is? What is my to be? What are the realistic steps between those two places? And you don't have to map it all out and then stick to it because things change. Things change along the way. You might move into a role on that journey and you go, actually, I'm doing something here that I haven't done before. Or maybe something changed in the technology during that time, like AI. And you go, well, actually, I'm doing something different now and I really enjoy that. Like, it's a moving feast, right? You can change it, you can edit it. But like, there has to be some kind of core structure, like, and a bit like I've had the same discussions with people in talking about getting their business ready for sale. Like, most people don't build a business with the end in mind, and building a business because you want to get it to a certain value and sell it is a very different process to building a business because you want to grow it and you want to become something else or become something bigger, or whatever. So different pathways, and starting with the end in mind. It doesn't have, none of this has to be set in stone. You don't have to marry it. It's not like having a child and you have to commit to it for the next 20 years or however long. Like, You just have to have an idea about where you want to get to, and where you want to get to is really personal, and it doesn't have to be. You don't have to be executive VP at Microsoft. You don't have to be a CTO or anything like that. Maybe your goal that you want to get to is actually I want to be able to work less and be able to spend more time with my family by this point. So I want to be able to maybe work a 3-day week, or maybe I want to change and do freelance clients and be able to pick and choose who I work with. It doesn't matter what the end point is, but you have to have something in mind. And it's the same thing with your personal financial planning. If you don't have an idea about like where you're going to get to, then how are you even going to get there? It's kind of like the Blues Brothers just getting in the car with a carton of cigarettes and your sunglasses on and just going, let's just drive somewhere. I mean, that does work. You will end up somewhere, but
it's you're in. I think that this approach is more like you're in control of.
right.
You're always in control, but this is like consciously choosing where to go. So I think that for people that's going to attend the event, this sounds like a very promising session.
Yeah. Well, if that's something you're interested in doing, then
yeah, everyone wants to. I mean, come on, I will be there definitely.
I think the more people we interview, we're saying we're going to every session, aren't we? We're like, that sounds like a great session. Let's do that one.
Let's do them all.
This one's definitely.
Let's do them all.
Sessions like that are really important though, because I find that I wasn't career driven, and then I sort of dropped out of uni and stuff, and then I was super focused on career. And I used to just review my career every year, review it, and just say like, where am I now, and just do this thing. And probably every year isn't even enough. I'm super career driven, but then once you sort of get the next step of the job you want, it's easy to just lose track and forget about it again. And you're enjoying your if you find a job that you're really enjoying, you're thriving in it, you sort of forget about the next step because you're too busy sort of savoring the moment. And then then 3-4 years later, you go, hold on a minute.
Holy shit! I haven't learned anything. The whole world's moved, and they didn't tell me where they were going. It's not about like it does. It really does. But also, if you are in a role and you enjoy it and it affords you the lifestyle that you want, because it's not all about work. Like the whole point of your career planning should be the means to finance your lifestyle. That's what your career is for, is to finance your overall lifestyle, to be able to support your family, to be able to have the kind of house you want, or whatever is important to you. Or maybe you want to save up some money so that you can go off and live in an ashram in your dotage or something. Or I'm probably just going to buy an animal sanctuary, and all the elderly unwed women can all come and live with me, and we'll all care.
I want to apply for that.
You're in. You get an early bird ticket. So
Please.
like it doesn't have to be like, and we have such a focus on ambition and drive and wanting to get to whatever level of wealth and stuff, but actually wealth comes in many different forms, and wealth could be, my current version of wealth is having the choice to sit down and do crochet and write a manifesto on the back of a napkin on a daily basis without having to worry about anything else. And someone else's definition of wealth could be that they know they've got enough money for themselves and their kids, and like you don't have to be. Someone's torturing their children outside.
Yes, that's me.
Is it nice? Nicely done by remote control as well. I like it. Your version of wealth could be, I just want to live on my own and have a Roomba and an iPad, and I'm going to have enough money to be able to eat. And it doesn't matter, like whatever your version of wealth is. And for most people, it's a level of freedom. And so, we have to normalize that career planning doesn't mean that you want to rule the world and take everything over and own your own business and run a company. It's about getting your life to a level that feels balanced and wealthy for you, whatever that version of wealth is, if that makes sense. I feel like a self-help guru at this point.
Yes, you should write a book.
We're going to start talking about manifesting in a minute and Reiki.
I had a bit of a moment when my uncle said that to me. My uncle was a painter and decorator, and he just loved painting walls. So I just wanted to paint walls. So I was 15, and then he won like a contract for shots, prison movie or shots, and it's got a prison, and he won the contract for the prison, and that was him completely content, just one end
he
of the
was
prison to
done.
another, painted
Yeah.
walls. They had a great family life, and just that's fantastic. That's where you want to be.
Yeah, totally.
Not in prison.
Well, I mean, hopefully with the freedom to go home at the end of the day.
Yes.
Without a nice piece of ankle jewelry, presumably.
Mm.
But yeah, like, it doesn't matter what your version of a good life is. It's your version. It's personal to you. For some people, it's going to be money. For other people, it's going to be choice. For other people, it's going to be doing as little as possible. For other people, it's going to be crocheting. Like, for funnily enough, mentioning Ryan McLean as well, it's his fault that I got into sharpening my own knives because he was talking about, or was he? It might have been you, Paddy, actually, going on about this guy on YouTube who like shows you he buys these like rusty old knives from the
No, it wasn't me.
Goodwill store, and he like cleans them up and sharpens them, and he can like split a hair like that with them, and I'm like, that sounds like a bit of me. So I ended up falling into a rabbit hole of watching these videos and buying all of these Japanese like whetstones and stuff for sharpening my. And I can tell you, I can spend a whole afternoon in a really deep state of reverie sharpening my knives, which obviously fits well with the manifesto thing and sounds reasonably terrifying. Now I hear myself say it out loud, but like it's just like for somebody like me that has a really busy head, that's like nirvana to me, to be able to just not be worrying about anything, not be thinking about it, and just repetitive action, which is why I enjoy crochet so much. So yeah, that's the overarching premise of the session, is how to plan career and what that looks like for you. And maybe
Everyone should attend.
everyone should
Yeah,
attend.
fantastic.
Yes.
Mostly just to see what color my hair is that week, because even I don't know at this point.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask that. Good.
It could be anything by then. Who knows?
I was going to say, ask if you're keeping it on brand with the Scottish Summit. There seems to be a lot of branded merch going around, and
yeah, I mean, I was pink before Scottish. Actually, no, I don't think I was. I think they were pink before me. Oof. Can't even lay claim to that one. I'm pretty sure they were pink first. So maybe I'm going to have to go the other way.
yeah,
Oh, we lost Anna.
Dropped off.
Oh, bye, Anna. Bye.
Bye.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Any closing statements?
So we'll move on to the next question.
The defense rests.
So what are you?
Sorry, I told you that my mom's here. Last episode, my mom came in walking.
Was she naked?
No, she wasn't.
Disappointing.
This time, but in a previous meeting with a client, a very luxury brand from Switzerland, I was working and she walked behind me. She was wearing, the shorts are a nude color.
Oh yeah, I love her already.
And the bra, also nude color. She walked by behind, and I didn't know what
naked. I mean, that's perfect. Perfect. I no notes. 13 out of 10 for me. Perfect.
So yeah, that's why my camera went off. Sorry, Paddy, go ahead.
Okay, no, that's okay. We'll move on with another question then. What are you looking forward to most about Scottish Summit this year?
I'm gonna say, do you know what? I was gonna say pub quiz, but I'm not gonna say that because everybody will say that. And obviously, I have to get my team swatting up. Don't make me get the medals out.
For the listeners who can't see the camera now, watch this on LinkedIn Live or YouTube.
This is the original, the first original and best.
No, that
Scottish
was not
Summit.
organized by my friends. That's something that didn't happen.
It was organized by you.
I don't care. It
was an official
before Anna,
quiz.
after Anna, and that's before Anna. I don't care.
It's a BA. It was a BA quiz.
So this is.
So again, for those that are just on audio in their car, Anna's showing off how many medals?
3.
Alison has a trophy.
I've got a trophy and medals. I got medals. I got pub quiz winner. Oh, I've dropped one.
I'm really sure that I don't know, but we should be in. either you were second place or something.
No,
Oh.
I think this was the second place.
See, Patty, I
This is
was right.
2023. I think this was the second place.
Yes, that was the
2023.
second place.
This was the
But it
winner.
was
This
weird
is the
because we
winner's
all
one.
had the same.
I mean, I don't want to argue about it. We all know that I'm the best. It's,
I could say something.
who's arguing over
Usually-
the colour of poo now, really?
I was about to say winning isn't everything, but I'm going to get shot down with that, aren't I?
Yeah.
Not the pub quiz.
Yes, you are. Yeah. Otherwise, what's the point? It's not the taking part; it's the winning. And I will not be.
I don't care about anything else. Yeah, of course.
Carl and I are going to get together and talk tactics and get our strategy on. Yeah. Actually, the thing I'm really most looking forward to is meeting up with people I haven't seen, like yourself, Paddy. I haven't seen you
I
since
know, it's been ages.
last year. There's quite a few people I haven't seen for a really long time. And I'm also pretty keen to see some of the other sessions. I know there'll be a lot of sessions around AI and that kind of thing. I'm really keen to see what people are up to, because I feel like I've been a bit out of the loop with nursing my sick dog over the last few months. I feel like I'm kind of trying to slowly get back to catching up with what everybody's been doing. So, you know, I'm really just looking forward to seeing people and hanging out with friends, old and new, and obviously winning the pub quiz.
Well, I think you will be able to just get partially that goals, hopefully.
Well,
So
I'm happy that you think that. I'm happy
love
for
this
you to
conversation.
continue, you know, like whatever you like to think, whatever makes you feel happier. I'm okay to help you continue on in your delulu as much as you like.
Thank you so much. Thank
fine.
you. I appreciate that. All right. So, in terms of people finding you, do you want to share any like resource to get people to know you?
I am happy to get to know anybody. Anybody is welcome to reach out to me or contact me. You can find me on LinkedIn or Twitter or TikTok or Facebook. On all of those places, I am A Mulligan 365, except for Facebook where I'm Alison Mulligan. But all of the others, if you just look up A Mulligan 365, you will find me. And I will happily share links to my socials if you want to put them in there.
Yes, we
Podcast.
will put it like somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, the
When
text
we
off
put,
tonight, isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah, don't worry.
Rex does the tech.
Fine.
Rex, who's not here, does the tech. So
I mean, you know, is Rex even serious about his job on this? You know, those that care were actually here. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
he was working all day today. It's something very stressful. That's why he's not here.
Actually, people probably shouldn't look me up on Facebook because they'll find.
Yeah, maybe not Facebook. The rest of the
they'll find like
platforms.
clips of my stand-up comedy and stuff like that, which nobody wants.
Oh my
I'd
God.
seen so I didn't know whether that was a dream or not, Alison. I couldn't remember whether
I mean, it was more of a nightmare, Paddy, if I'm honest.
I think it came through like there must not be because I've got two Facebooks. I've got I did start a Facebook. There's nobody's on it because it was a brand one, a business one. I've got a personal Facebook, and I remember seeing something on Facebook about Alison Mulligan doing stand-up comedy, and I thought that didn't happen. Did that happen? Did it not? I was going to ask about that as part of the icebreaker, but I wasn't sure whether I was just going mad. I thought, what dreams did I have? Like, I'm dreaming of Alison Mulligan doing stand-up comedy.
I mean, you're not the only one. You might be the only one that admits to it, Paddy, but I think everybody's dreamt about it at some point. I did. It was a charity thing. I did a stand-up comedy thing last year, and I've been in touch with the guys about doing a few more gigs, which I probably will do.
Brilliant.
And it was a super fun experience. I've got the video. I'll send you the video if you want to see
Yes,
it.
please.
Fantastic. Yes,
I would love to see it.
If you literally want to clench your anus for about 6 minutes, and feel really bad and awkward for me for the entirety of that time.
I would love to do that for you.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Yeah. So I'll send it to you. And what was interesting though, I know that I started out by saying I do nothing all day every day, but actually I've been working on my stand-up comedy routine. What I actually figured out from doing that is because I did a bit of stand-up years ago when I was much younger and more attractive. And what I figured
More?
out from
Is
doing,
that
I know,
possible?
no, honestly, you couldn't look at me. It was like staring at the sun. You had to poke like a hole in a piece of cardboard or look through smoked glass. That's not true. That's not true. I I learned from doing it this time that actually the part of the process that I enjoyed the most, I really enjoyed going on stage and performing and coming up with the material. Um, but the part I enjoyed the most was actually the writing of it. And then I thought, oh, maybe I'll write a screenplay, which then somehow devolved into writing a book. So I've been writing a book,
Nice.
which is dreadful. Dread is an awful piece of shit, really awful. But
No,
but it's really fun doing it. So I've been doing that a lot, and also learning to speak French. So yeah, it's been quite productive.
So
You did a lot of things.
So by saying I've not been doing anything, not been doing much.
Yeah.
You're writing a book. You're speaking French. So another
Yeah,
language.
I've been learning about AI. I've been learning French and a bit of Japanese as well.
Oh
I've been writing a
my.
book. I've been working on my stand-up comedy.
And
Yeah,
doing crochet. So
and doing crochet a
Yeah.
lot. A lot. I may also send you some pictures, Anna, of the.
yes,
In
please.
fact, it's funny because I met up with Janet Robb, who I'm sure most people know, a few weeks ago, and we were just going for a walk in the park. And I said, "Oh, I've been doing nothing." And then I was telling her all the stuff. She said, "Well, it doesn't really sound like you've been doing nothing. Sounds like you've been doing quite a lot, actually." So she made me promise that I would spend at least several days doing a jigsaw and nothing else. Which I
Good.
probably did. Yeah, so I've done a lot of jigsaws as well.
I will give you one.
Will you?
Yes.
And a jigsaw.
What?
And a jigsaw.
You'd have to have the jigsaw with your mum in the back as well.
Okay. So please, for everyone that's listening or watching this video, if you don't have your tickets yet to Scottish Summit, go to scottishsummit.com and get your tickets.
Yes.
You can buy there everything, like get your ticket for the sessions, for the cabaret, for the pub quiz, for anything you'd like. Or for the workshops as well. They're all there. Patty, what?
And also, I just want to add something else. I also know what it's like when you go to these events and you don't really know anybody, and it can feel a bit intimidating. So if you're going and you don't really know anybody, or you don't know that many people, and there's someone in particular that you want to meet or speak to, or if you want to get in touch with someone that knows something about specific technology and you don't know who you should speak to, I kind of know most people. I'm really easy to spot because I've got weird hair. So just if you see me wandering around and you want to meet someone or talk to somebody, then come and ask me and I will intro you to them, which is far less awkward than just walking up to someone you don't know and going, "Hi."
Was that a humble way of saying that you are very well known in the community, maybe?
It was not. It was a way of saying I am very easy to spot because I've got pink hair. And if I don't know someone, I don't care about going up to them.
That
This
was my
is my
advice.
friend.
The advice I got when I went to my first, I think it was D365 Saturday, was from Mark Smith, who was on his mentoring program. And he says, if you go and see one person, because I didn't know anybody, if you go and see one person, go and see Alison Mulligan.
Oh, really? Oh my God. Oh, yeah, it was green at the time.
So that was my one piece of advice that
Mark
I got
is, well, I love that. That has actually touched me in a very special place. Not that. Mark is a wonderful, wonderful human being, and he has a very interesting background. Like he grew up in a very interesting environment, and like he is one of the warmest people. He's the reason why the Power Platform community took off so much in the UK, because he was based in London at the time, and he was a massive part of that, like a huge part of it. And like I desperately miss him being halfway around the world. I'm like delighted for him because he's got like an idyllic life. Like that's a great example of what wealth looks like.
Wealth. Yeah.
He has a fantastic life, but he's one of the nicest, kindest, most caring, warmest human beings you'll ever meet. and I hope he comes to Scottish Summit.
Hope so.
Paddy, what's the hashtag?
Hashtag is Scottish Summit 2024. I almost got it wrong there.
Yes, I felt
It was a tricky one too. It was
a
great.
hesitation.
Yeah.
Hashtag Scottish Summit 24. Scottish Summit 18th and 19th of October. Get your tickets.
And if you want to be in the podcast with us, scottishsummit.com, or I don't know, reach out to us on LinkedIn or something, and we will find some spot for you to come along.
Yay! Thank you so much for having me. It was nice to
Of
catch
course,
up.
it's been a pleasure.
Yeah. Well, it was
Thank
nice to
you.
come and talk to you about me for an hour.
Yeah, I know. It's been the shortest episode we ever record.
Yeah, I thought
We're
it
still
would be.
recording now.
The road to Scottish Summit starts here. This is the Power Platform Podcast. Join Rex de Koning, Ana Inés Urrutia de Sousa, and Paddy Byrne as they talk to the Microsoft community about their stories.